My sister and my dad had an argument 6 years ago after Christmas at my house. The context of the argument doesn't matter, it was stupid, but the takeaway is that at some point during the conversation my sister was rude to my dad and slammed a car door when leaving his car to go back to her apartment. My dad flew off the handle when the door slammed and got about a foot away from my sister's face and screamed at her about how disrespectful she was, which is kind of ironic if you think about it for more than a few seconds. There was no physical violence, but I'm not sure my sister would have been totally confident of that in the moment. After that fight my sister and my dad were never the same. My dad apologized and they would still speak and see each other, but there was a wedge there. They both did this passive-aggressive thing where they would play nice to each other's faces, but they both knew things were not right. Fast forward to 2017 and my sister is getting married. There were signs this was not going to go well. For context, my parents had been divorced for 17 years at this point and my sister was having a beach wedding. The night before the wedding there was a dinner at the hotel we were staying at which included my sister's fiancé's parents, my brother, my mom and I. My dad wasn't invited. My sister will tell you it's because it wasn't a rehearsal dinner and only people staying at the hotel were invited. My dad was staying at my cousin's house a few towns away. If we're being honest, I think this was pretty shitty. He felt excluded and I think that's justifiable. Although again my sister still has that blow up outside the car in her mind, so I can't say I blame her wanting to keep him at a distance. Next, on the day of the wedding my sister was walked down the aisle by her husband, or I guess fiancé at that point, and not my dad. This I see no problem with. Maybe 30 or 50 years ago this would have been scandalous, but in 2017, come on. All sorts of wedding traditions and taboos have been done away with. And finally at the reception my sister had a sweetheart table with her husband up front and then a few tables to either side of them where my mom, my brother and I all sat along with our spouses and a friend or two of my mom's. My dad sat at a table with his sisters and my cousins. He takes this as a slight, but honestly with divorced parents it's not like they were going to sit together. And my sister has definitely been closer to my mom post-divorce, especially after the yelling incident. Again, I don't see this as a problem, but my dad clearly did. He took this as him not being wanted there. We all sit down to dinner and this is where the real drama happens. In the middle of the meal my dad, his sisters and my cousins all get up and start to walk out while everyone is staring at them. He'll tell you it's because it was a Sunday night and everyone had to get home, but my aunt telling me, "We know where we're not wanted," gave their real plan away. They had taken my dad's side in this drama that had nothing to do with them and decided to inflict maximum pain on my sister, and it worked. My sister was mortified and ran away crying, which my dad and his family absolutely saw and continued walking out. As far as I'm concerned, this was him slamming his hand down on the self-destruct button on his relationship with my sister. Up until that point I had been an innocent bystander to all the drama, but once my dad effectively ruined my sister's wedding I took a stand and cut him and his family and my cousins out of my life. Fast forward a bit and he and I now have a strained relationship. After a year of giving him the cold shoulder I eventually started talking to him again and asked what he was thinking. He'll go on about how he felt excluded from the wedding and my sister didn't treat him right. And for some things I can squint my eyes and see what he's talking about, but overall he went into the wedding expecting to be slighted and found the evidence he wanted in order to walk out. And not for nothing, you reap what you sow. He was the one that caused the rift in the first place. Is it really a surprise that she would want to keep him at a distance or not include him in the ways he thought were appropriate? And also, who cares what he thinks is appropriate? This was my sister's wedding, the day every girl dreams about. Shouldn't she get to have the wedding she wants without someone deciding they're the arbiter of what's right and wrong for her special day? Anyway, my dad is now asking to see my kids, who he hasn't seen in 4 years, and I told him no. The extent of our relationship right now is talking on the phone a few times a year, which is all I want right now. And honestly maybe not even that. I'm still not over the crap he pulled with my sister, for which he has never tried to reach out to my sister to make right and for which he refuses to show any genuine remorse or understanding of how inappropriate his actions were. There are also other things in my personal past with him that I now find problematic. When he and my mom got divorced I was 17 and for years afterwards he would process his grief at the divorce by bad-mouthing my mom to me. I'm talking constantly, almost every time I saw or talked to him for a few years. I let it happen and for a long time I resented my mom until I got her side of the story and realized some of what he was telling me was total garbage, or at least extremely one-sided. He also blew up at my wife one Christmas when we had an infant and said that we thought maybe in the future, next year we wouldn't do the annual Christmas Day function with his family because it would be more fun to be with our own little family, and that he was invited. I guess he thought it was a supreme insult to his family that he would want to spend the day with his kids and grandkid? The pattern I'm now picking up on is this narcissistic tendency to prioritize what he wants and blow up at anybody who thinks or feels or acts differently.